being capable of being violent, right? Having that ability, but then the discernment to when to use that violence and use it in a moral way, right? Because force must parallel danger, right? We must use only the force necessary to stop this threat or this attack, right? So you're safe, your family's safe, your friends are safe. That's a good person, a good man with a good discernment. And so it's okay to be violent, man. Violence is not a bad thing, right?
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Modern Man. It's a pleasure to have you, and thanks for joining us. I'm excited for today's episode, but first, got to introduce our panelist before we introduce our guest. Tim Pecoraro on the opposite side of the table from me, usual suspect. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Good to be here. So glad.
And the director of operations to this beautiful facility that we are at, Sawmill Training Complex in Lawrence County, South Carolina, Scott Puckett. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you.
See you, Scott.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys coming out. Hope you enjoyed driving into this little piece of paradise.
It's great.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful facility. I'd love to actually share some of the pictures. And for anybody that follows The Modern Man, they saw we did the pistol training.
You have to do a
here.
drive through.
Yeah.
Come in with mount it.
We have some drone camera footage of the spot too, but I'd love for you to introduce yourself to the audience really quick. Let them know a little bit of your background.
All right, so for me, I recently retired after 25 years in law enforcement in the security field. After getting out of high school, went in the Marine Corps, got injured, got out, went into law enforcement in 1994, and then worked my way from Myrtle Beach to Richland County, and then eventually to Lexington, and retired after 25 years. I spent most of my career doing training and teaching, and spent about 5 years working for Blackwater in Iraq and Afghanistan, doing protection and training in Afghanistan.
Well, first of all, thank you for your service. I want you to know that's very much appreciated. And the topic of today's episode, I want to talk about defensiveness and responsible defensiveness. And we've talked about fitness before on this show, but that was more in terms of, well-being and mental health and kind of just taking care of your body. But I want to talk about fitness, being that I know you run a few gyms as well, correct?
Correct.
Starting with that, how can fitness play in a role in terms of defense? Because I'm a firm believer of, sure, you have the wolves in this world, you have the sheep. You also have the sheepdog, right? And I'm not here to tell anybody to be which one, but for anybody who aspires to be maybe a sheepdog, to protect themselves from the wolves and maybe others, I know fitness plays a huge role in that. How has fitness been for you through your journey? How important has that been?
So it has been a journey for me, which started a long time ago as a boy. Coming up, I seemed to be, I was late blooming, if you will, as far as my physical abilities. It wasn't until, probably after high school that I started developing and maturing more. But as a kid growing up, physically capable, agility, some strength, good balance, coordination. I spent a lot of time surfing and swimming and just all into anything, basketball, whatever, football, wrestling. But it wasn't until after I matured and started realizing the full maximum potential of my physical fitness, I was able to make it through Marine Corps boot camp, and then because of a knee injury that I had previous, I was able to sustain myself and get through that, and then eventually I couldn't maintain that as a 0311 infantryman. So what I found was then it was a matter of how can I recover from that, how can I build some sustainment, resilience, and continue. For me, the philosophy, it goes back to, again, the tenets, as far as what I look at, how I look at it. And it was previously the 3 F's, now it's the 4 F's, thanks to a good friend of mine who was a recon Marine, Ron Holmes, who added the first principle, which is faith. And so it's faith, fitness, fighting, and firearms. And that is the realm of the pillars, if you will, and that keeps me grounded in a direction that I need to focus on for what my life revolves around, if you will, and because of what I chose to take up the sword, if you will, at a young age. It's something I always wanted to do growing up around military, law enforcement, men that just, to me, were the epitome of what a man should be, right? Protectors, strong, and so, but I saw that there was a certain human nature, this there's just a natural human nature about it, and I just was drawn to it, right? The uniforms, the attitude, they were very loving, at the same time stern and directed.
I have a question about with your journey, and I think a lot of us go through it, and people might be watching this now thinking they're fragile. And I think it's amazing when that changes in your mind, when you realize, okay, I'm not fragile, I'm actually resilient. Do you remember that when that switch happened for you, and then how did that change the game?
So what it changed for me was as looking at it, obviously faith is a foundation, but fitness is the physical foundation, right? Fitness is a true physical foundation, which guides us through the mental and emotional piece of being more resilient. It's funny you should say that, because our in-house courses here, open enrollment courses, are called the Resilient Citizen. And then from there, it's the rifleman, the handgun, the ladies' gun. I mean, we have all this self-defense. Everything kind of branches off of that, but it's all about resiliency. Ryan Galdez is our training director here, and of course, he and I, we got together and built that, along with another solid part of the foundation here. One of the instructors is an adjunct as well, as James Davenport, and we sat down and came up with that concept, the name, the Resilient Citizen, and it's about that. It's about whatever you choose, wherever your path may start, right? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Wherever you need to start, for me, going back to the question, was when I got injured from the Marine Corps, got out, and I realized, like, I've got to find what works for me and continue down that path. And again, it was that foundation of fitness. Did powerlifting, did the bodybuilding thing coming up through high school with a bunch of just, gym rat meatheads, and just one injury or some type of problem after another, and then try to find that perfect formula, that blueprint of what will work and keep me sustained throughout my journey. I'm 48 now. So, and as I've gotten older, I've realized that my recovery is slower. So I have to make my training build around that, And so a poignant moment was for me realizing that physical fitness was important. I was in Afghanistan with a team. I was working with Ryan Galdez, and our physical fitness, team physical fitness training was CrossFit, right? So we did that, and not knowing really about what that was all about, and experienced that kind of intensity at 8,000 feet in Gardez, Afghanistan. Well, it was coming out of both ends, and I was in a whole lot of hurt. And it was bad, dude. I was like, man, this is crazy. Like, I don't know, what is all this, right? It's madness, but it helped kind of shape what my path was from there, which led me to becoming a wellness coordinator, running gyms, and also led me down the path of becoming a competitor on this TV show called One Man Army on the Discovery Channel, which I won. And because I was just just had a good baseline physical fitness, right? And with everything, power, strength, agility, coordination, and I had a clear mind of what I needed to do, and I won, and because of that, right?
So it sounds almost like being in it, Unfortunately, you don't realize how strong you are until the weight is on. And I think a lot of us shy away from the pain, shy away from the pressure, shy away from the weight because we're afraid of our fragility. Mm-hmm. But it's almost under that pressure, under that weight, we find out that we're not fragile. What would you say? What would you say to someone afraid to jump in? And this would go out to you too, Tim, to reflect after Scott. Is like, if anybody's holding back on embracing, their resiliency, they're probably avoiding the hurt.
Right.
How would you encourage them, motivate them, maybe empower them to hey, lean in a little bit?
Right. Pain is the mother of invention. We have to embrace that and realize that we are capable of 20 times more than we could ever think we could do and accomplish in life, right? That it is the physical challenge right? But at first it starts in the mind, right? It starts in the mind. Viktor Frankl, right? Man's Search for Meaning. He realized that while he's there, he's an Austrian professor. He's a Jew. He's found himself in this. He's been taken to this concentration camp. His whole family, his neighbors, his community is all being tortured. Nazis were torturing the Jews, and they were even forcing the Jews to torture other Jews. And through all that, he realized this, is that the only thing he could affect was his mind, how he reacted to this. And in that, he visualized himself lecturing on the very things that were taking place there, so he could carry that message to everybody to know what took place there. And how that equates or how that transfers to anyone looking to start that journey in physical fitness is this, is that you visualize yourself what you want to be first, how you want to feel, how you want to look. Visualize yourself, right? Sun Tzu said the battle's won in planning, right? It starts in planning. You visualize that success, you visualize where you want to be, and then you take those steps, one small step at a time is all it takes. You have to just lean into it. Like you said, lean forward to start moving forward, right? And if it's a walk for a mile, if that's all you can do is half a mile, if all you can do is 50 yards, then walk that, right? And then continue that until one thing leads to another and you find yourself mentally and emotionally driving forward.
And I would just say, because pressure, you hear me say this all the time, pressure is our privilege, and I mean, that's when you find out until something's stretched, you don't know what it is, and in order to get to the essence of a seed, it has to be squeezed. The skin has to be busted, to get to the core of what it is. And so a true revelation is going to happen when you allow yourself to step into that pressure, right? And as he said, I'm one of those people that the people that are in a hurry, they never see the lasting results or the results that can sustain them, right? And it's that one step at a time. It's the get good first kind of mentality. It's understanding that everyone wants to massively accelerate their growth. Well, massive acceleration can happen at a slower pace when you really get deeply rooted and get those foundational things understood. And I love what he was saying about the mind, because unless you slow down and pay attention, you don't get the full effect of the neuroplasticity that takes place in your mind. Because you can be by nature soft-spoken. By nature, you can be the person who shies away from confrontation. But when you get a vision for something, neuroplasticity can kick in. And when you allow yourself to be in there and embrace the pressure that's your privilege, you can actually move beyond what your quote-unquote nature has said about you.
Right, those limitations or those glass ceilings.
Yeah.
Or what others have said about you. They have to shut that off.
Heck yeah, you do.
Because people will define you, right? Yeah. You see, and then you got to understand something too. Failure does not define you.
That's right. It refines you, yeah.
That's true. And that is a powerful thing for someone to understand, is it first, again, you win in the mind. You start there and you realize this is where you want to be. Nothing in life worth having came at an easy task. It has to be a challenge, right? And again, it's like you said, is that myelination, that building those mind-body connections, those synapses coming together, all that coming together in the brain. And if you get it overnight, there's not much joy and success in that feel of accomplishment in it, right? Think about it. If something came very simple, it never really stuck to you. But think about the worst mistakes you ever made. It was just embarrassing. It was a struggle. It sticks with you the rest of your life, and it's a lesson that is taught to you forever. But something that wasn't very consequential, it didn't really matter much. It was in, and you don't even barely remember it anymore. But it's the same goes for when you earn something that you've worked and busted your butt to get. That is meaningful. Those things matter the most.
I love it, yeah.
I think that's where the foundation of confidence comes from.
Absolutely.
When somebody has worked on themselves, a lot of people are like, how do I get confident? Work on yourself.
Correct.
And I say, okay, keep promises to yourself. If you say you're going to wake up at 6, don't hit the snooze button. Wake up at 6. And when you have a habit of waking up at 6, when you say you wake up at 6, you've trained yourself to be someone who wakes up early when you once weren't. So because you start working on yourself and you've earned who you are, you start to gain a little confidence in that. I'd love to kind of transition that confidence, because we're talking about defense here, and I respect so much what our servicemen and women have done, our law enforcement men and women continue to do, and servicemen and women continue to do as well. And I know how important it is for them to take up the sword, as you mentioned earlier. There's a lot of everyday citizens who feel that responsibility as well. Right. And they feel the confidence to take up that sword. What words of caution, words of wisdom, and experience would you impart on those who want to aid in either protecting themselves, their community, or their loved ones?
We're all responsible. I mean, and I speak from a man's perspective, and I will say this: I believe wholeheartedly that a man is the leader in the family. I believe that, and that's the way. But not to remove any credit and value from having a good wife or partner, to help you sustain that leadership. Right? There has to be that rock, that support. All right, and it's shoulder to shoulder. It's not front to back, man. It's shoulder to shoulder, 100%. But a man's job is to protect the family, okay? And in order to do that, you have to seek out, right, the knowledge to become what you want to be, right? There must be, and again, if you don't know what you don't know, then you just don't know, right? And but knowledge, right? And I'll mess this quote up of I believe it's Thomas Sowell talks about, or it might be Walter Williams, but he talks about the there has to be a desire for knowledge. There has to be, and I'll paraphrase, there has to be a desire for knowledge. There has to be an increased amount of knowledge to find what it is that you're missing. You know what I mean? So you can have that introspect. You can look and say, all right, well, how can I become stronger? How can I become a more resilient person, a man? All right, in this case, it's important because a man is protecting the family. If you don't know, right, and you have a weakness, which you have to have knowledge to understand that weakness, then you seek out those, what I call teachers, mentors, and coaches. Teachers, mentors, and coaches, not instructors, not people that regurgitate information, but those that find in you the skill and how to cultivate that. You don't want to learn from someone who will just show you how good they are, right? Yeah. It's not about how good you are as an instructor or whatever your skill is. It's about how good or how much better, more desirable you can bring up the skill level of the student, right? It's not about what you can do, it's about what you can show your students, what they can do. And so first they find someone who's reputable. You talk about Z, man. Z is a phenomenal teacher. He understands the why behind the what, and he loves to peel away the layers of the onion because he understands there's depth and meaning in everything, right? You picked up I would say an outstanding teacher in Z. The guy's fun. He's an awesome teacher. I mean, and that's what we do here. And part of our training is that we build from, and this is a beautiful thing. I give all the credit to Ryan for coming up with this concept. It's a fail-safe environment, which leads to a safe-to-fail environment, right? Mm-hmm. You lead people through from fail-safe to safe-to-fail, right? That's good. And it's very important in the firearms industry because in skill sets, and I'll tell you again, we go back to fitness, fighting, and firearms. Faith, fitness, fighting, and firearms. Fitness is a foundation, fighting, the ability to physically protect yourself, protect the gun you carry, right? Yeah. And protect others that are important to you. That fighting, and I say fighting because it's my F's, right? But it's a self-defense. It's learning how to defend yourself and others. And so that physical fitness lends to the fighting piece. I need to know how to fight. I need to know how to protect this guy. I need to know how to physically protect myself. And how you find that is you seek out those skill sets, right? Whether it be grappling or for me, I've kind of run the gamut through all of those things from karate, right, Tang Sudo, all that. Then I realized, like, what's this UFC thing, man? I like this. I did wrestling in high school, so it was a good transition from that to jiu-jitsu. To jiu-jitsu, I was like, hey, this stuff works.
Back, though, that's
oh, dude, yeah.
But once you get into it, you're like, this is great.
Yeah, but you want to stay on top, yeah. That's right.
I'm not giving you my
That's right. That's right. And so from that transition is important, right? And we're talking about like a little 8-inch VHF combo, plugging it into the gym. We're like, hey man, what's this stuff here?
Yeah.
Old VHF.
And they didn't have all the gloves either.
Yeah, no, man. And so transition to that, and then the striking skills. I learned how to box from a Marine Corps World War II vet, and he taught all his sons, and was there like that pest, that little kid. I was always wanting to learn, and I learned how to box from them. And so for me, the grappling and the boxing piece is important. So it's the pugilism, right? Learning how to defend yourself with your fist and to be able to wrestle to get off the ground, because that's not where you want to be. And if you need to escape the situation, right, you can safely do so. But that is finding those teachers, mentors, coaches is the piece, is the breadcrumb to that path, right?
And I love what you were saying too about it's that knowledge. It's not just having some knowledge. It's continuing to pursue it so that you know that you're getting the right amount of knowledge and information to know where the void or the gap is.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So because if not, you could just be getting knowledge everywhere. But the thing is to at least begin to identify what is missing, right. And you may not know exactly what it is, but you know there's a hole. That's right. You got to look, and then once you start running into it, there is that, it kind of like gravitates, right? When you say, like for you, absolutely. Was it one of those things where you felt like you got in front of it and then you knew it, even though you didn't know what it was yet, sure. But you're experiencing it because there's an attraction that happens. Then you start feeling the fulfilling part of it, right? And then now it turns into something real, because now you can take knowledge and begin to apply it as you fill a void. Right. Yeah. I mean, I love that.
And I found that at an early age in law enforcement, because I went through the academy and I realized what they taught us was just going to get, frankly, you're going to get my butt kicked, right? Yeah. And this is bizarre, right? Because I'd already had some skill in wrestling and boxing. I was like, man, this isn't. Why are we not punching each other right now? You know what I mean? Like, why are we not putting the gloves on and hitting each other in the face?
Rules.
Like I said,
that's exactly what it was.
Like we were in a little pit, you know, in the Marine Corps. It was like rock 'em, sock 'em robots, man. You're beating each other, right? Yeah. And so, I knew that something's missing here, right? And what I realized later on, it was just a matter of liability.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody. And so, the unfortunate part of that is that where is that presumption that I am prepared, right? And
to go out into the real,
and these young officers that are down the street now, they're looking around like, hey, I'm good, but they only shoot once a year. They don't do any kind of defensive tactics where they're physically putting their hands on people. So the confidence is not there, the competence is not there, and so unfortunately, what happens is a lot of mistakes that unfortunately lead to grievous errors in judgment. And death, right? I think it was Vince Lombardi said that you can't fake, preparedness, and you can't fake conditioning, right? And it's just not there. And so if it's not there, it's not there. And it's obvious, and I've seen it time and time again in these viral videos of law enforcement officers making mistakes, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, what do they say? You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, it's like Foreman said. He said, "What you do at 4:30 in the morning,
right.
It'll be seen in that squared circle in Madison Square Garden.
That's right. Yeah.
It's all going to be revealed right there."
That's right. And Ali, going back to the alarm clock thing, because he hated running, he hated doing the road work, right? He took his running shoes, and put them on top of his alarm clock.
There you go.
You gotta grab them.
So there was no going over hit snooze without putting your hands on them shoes,
Yep, and then
it's that time. Might pull them on off, let's put them on the floor.
And for the boxing enthusiasts, let me change that. It was Joe Frazier that said that.
It's
Frazier, not Foreman. Right? Yeah, don't mess that. Someone will be texting him and saying,
"Don't at me."
Oh, yeah. You know it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want to. I'm trying to articulate this as best as I can, because I do feel as though, and Tim, you talked a little bit about being dangerous, right? And I feel as though there are some people who are afraid of danger. And when I say they're afraid of danger, they're afraid of what someone is capable of. And I use the analogy of a dog. A dog has teeth and a dog can bite. Yet we love the dog because, for more often than not, when we own the dog is our protector, not the attacker. And I think as humans, when we see somebody, we calculate really quick. Is this a friend or foe? Friend or foe? Absolutely. Friend or foe? And I mean, men, we size each other up all the time. We look at each other, okay, friend or foe. Now, my calculations are gonna be like, okay, hope he's a friend because he's very capable in a lot of things, so I'm gonna keep him on my side or that. But if you're like foe, okay, you hope that foe's not dangerous. I want to kind of switch that mentality for people, and it's like, instead of thinking friend or foe, I hope this foe's not dangerous. How can we, I guess, debunk some of the myth of danger being bad, when if you're the dangerous one, you are the friend as well, and you don't have to worry about other people. Does that make sense? Am I
Absolutely.
articulating that well?
I think it was Jordan Peterson said a dangerous man is not a bad man, or a good man rather is not a dangerous man is not a good man, or a good man is not a dangerous man.
Yeah.
But and I'll just have to paraphrase it here
I know
because
the
I'm messing
quote.
it up.
You
say it.
The virtue of the hero is its ability to be a monster.
Right, and control that. So it's a good man is a dangerous man, right? That can control that violence, right? Or it's violence. I think you use violence, and so being capable of being violent, right? Having that ability, but then the discernment to when to use that violence and use it in a moral way, right? Because force must parallel danger, right? We must use only the force necessary to stop this threat or this attack, right? So you're safe, your family's safe, your friends are safe. That's a good person, a good man with a good discernment. And so it's okay to be violent, man. Violence is not a bad thing, right? Jesus himself turned over the changing tables in the temple violently, right?
Yeah.
And so,
exactly
and
right.
it goes back to, I want to say this, man, that I'm not a religious man in any sense, but I tell you this, I have faith and I love God, all right? And I know Jesus died on the cross for my sins. I'll say that. I'm not, and I don't deserve it, right? I can tell you that right now. But I know this, that it's okay to be violent and it's okay to be savage, right? When need be, right? To protect the people you love, right? And protect yourself. Because think about this, if you're not there, what will happen to the ones that depend on you, right? And there's a reason, that's a focus, and it's not about you, then it's about protecting yourself to be there for the people that need you.
Exactly right. Yeah, I encourage people all the time, and I'm like you. I mean, I tell people I have a relationship with God, so I'm not a religious person. No. But my thing is, King David was a musician, and he was a warrior. King Saul, who everyone thought he killed thousands. They said David is tens of thousands. David was a bad dude, but he was also this guy that would sit there and play a harp, and watch sheep. I mean, you know what I mean? And that's there is an importance for people to be able to understand that there's nothing wrong with at least knowing that you have no control on what the world wants to bring to your doorstep. However, you do have say-so in what you invite in.
That's right.
And that's why it's important for you to know, to whatever level of degree, that what you're made of. I tell you this, I would rather know that I would step up to the challenge with all of everything that I have, even though I don't win, I've won already, because I stand. Instead of the person who will not put themselves in the situation, will avoid it at all costs. But not only they don't stand up, they lose, but they lose forevermore. And the reason they lose forevermore, because now that's where they get a full they get occupied and dominated by every other situation that can come into their lives. They set a pattern of loss. And failure is not final, right? Unless you don't learn anything, right? Absolutely. You got to learn something. So it's okay to learn, but what about the next time? And once again, here's what I tell people. I don't need to be the best in the room. I just need to be world class at everything. That's my goal. I'm gonna be world class. Eventually I know I'm gonna run into some limitation. However, the limitation is not gonna be me. You awesome. Understand what I'm saying?
Bravo.
Yeah, and so that's what people need to understand. I mean, I think we need to be putting that into, especially our young boys today, because unfortunately, I just feel like we're seeing an emasculation of young men.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that's the way I want to put it, because it's like it's wrong to really to just say, yeah, I'm a man, I'm a boy, and guess just like with a girl, like my daughter is that tomboy. She got two older brothers, one's 20 and one's 18. She wants to do what they do, jump off what they jump off of. She wants to roll around. Why can't she get punched in the mouth, right? But she's still all girl too. She has that girl too. She wants to be both. Why does she have to choose one? She wants to be both, Absolutely. Why can't a young man also just be both without it being wrong today? Let them get dirty. Let them right? But I'm
they're
telling
going to
you,
get in trouble, and that's fine.
But that's what keeps them from standing up too, because you rob their voice way before they use it.
Absolutely.
One of my best friends, when we first met, It was the second day we met. He says, I give you 3 days before I hit you. And we literally started our friendship bouting with each other. I mean, we were on the ground wrestling, trying to make each other tap out because we didn't want to like fight. So we literally, someone called, you guys hate each other, just battle it out.
Right.
And like we left it all out there, but there's a respect and there's camaraderie. There's actually thankfulness in that because in that competition, we both got better. Yeah. And we got roughed up. We felt the pressure, we felt the pain, and then we know we're alive. And hey man, you good? I'm good. Before we wrap this up, I do want to talk about some of the people watching. They want to be able to defend themselves and they want to be able to defend their community. But we mentioned the importance of doing it responsibly. Absolutely. You know, because there's a lot of people who might have a false confidence.
Sure.
If they haven't seeked out the proper teachers, mentors, and coaches, and they haven't been imparted the wisdom that they need to safely and effectively handle their environment. And as a friend of mine puts it, you know, he's like, hey, I'm at peace because if somebody were to come, you said you can't control what the world brings to your door. Right. He says, hey, if somebody were to come into my house, they're gonna have to figure out it's the wrong house. That's right. But I'd love to get your wisdom really quick on just some basic steps someone watching can maybe impart to start learning how to safely, responsibly defend themselves, their loved ones, in their home.
Yeah, so stronger people are harder to kill, right? And in general, more useful, right? Yeah. Yeah, man, and that's not my quote, but I've lived by it and understood it to be, you know, a mantra of sorts that I've got to be stronger regardless of my age, right? Always, and again, it's that adversary, and so facing the unknown adversary is important to know where to start. Foundation, obviously, you got to get your mind right and realize, am I willing to use violence? And most importantly, take another life if I have to, right? Yep. And that's a decision they've got to make. You know, we all have to make that. And with that, it is important because it is our constitutional right to own, possess, use firearms, right? Second Amendment. So with that, we have a responsibility to honor what was earned from the time they fought for our freedom in this country, all the way through the wars, the conflicts, the internal, external conflicts, right? All the way to now. Like all the people that have passed, that have died, that have given their ultimate sacrifice. And on our coin, our challenge coin here, it says, "Earn it every day." It's the American flag in the middle, and on the outside is "Earn it every day." And I give that to people who exude excellence, who give all they've got. They come out here, they just go above and beyond. Like one gentleman who never been in a firearms class ever in his life, never fired a gun on a range before, drove from upstate New York all the way here just to come down here and take a class, right? And he was nervous, so he came a day early, and I was in the gym, and he comes in and we start talking, and he tells me all these things. Man, and it just was like, that resonated with me in a big way, because taking that chance, that leap of faith, and I owed that man, you know, some humility. And said, look, man, it doesn't matter. We all put our pants on the same way, no matter who the person is, whether Navy SEAL, unit guys, Green Berets, whatever, man, Marines, recons. It doesn't matter. We're all men. We're all human beings. We're all human beings. We put our pants on the same way. So don't put anybody on a pedestal. Just look at them as a human. They have higher skill sets, right? Teachers, mentors, and coaches. We come to learn that. So the journey must be a responsible one. You must start from within, that mental and emotional piece, and then work your way to the physical piece, that you are seeking out good, reputable teachers, right? Yeah. And that you learn the fundamentals. For us, it's the Rifleman series, for instance, starts out with fundamentals, man. Safety, you know, learning what safety is all about, right? Know the condition of your gun. You know, index that gun in a safe direction all times. Finger off the trigger until you know for a fact you're going to pull that trigger, what that target is, and you just made that decision, right? And then, of course, what is beyond that target, what the target is and what beyond that target. Those are like firearm safety, universal, you know, just tenets that are. And so with that, the knowledge first is do your homework. Sit down, decide what path, look at you, like take that real deep look at what it is I need, what I'm lacking, right? And then you probably know someone in the community, right?
Yeah.
Call them, and if you don't, call me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm more than happy to, email me, scott@sawmillttc.com.
Yeah, let's go.
Call us up, right? 864-983-0003 and ask me and I will help you. And even if I'm pointing you in a different direction to someone else, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you come here but I want to make sure you go to you're looking for and you're gaining the right knowledge from the right people that have your best interest at heart. And that's the key to the path, the beginning of the path, and then following that path. And it's a journey, man. It's a lifelong journey. Never stop learning, right?
I was going to ask that.
Yes, sir.
I knew the answer
Sometimes
too.
the teacher, always the student. Sometimes the teacher, always the student, right? And that's it's big, and that's a part of it. So again, that's a big part of it. That's our coin there, right? All right. And so, that's the reason why that's so. And you don't just get that handed to you, man, just because you visited. You got to earn that thing. And there's a reason for it, right? Yeah, and there's a reason for that, And so, because I want that to be meaningful, Because listen, man, I never want to think to myself, because I've lost friends in Iraq and I lost friends in Afghanistan, and I never want to think to myself, am I doing my part today, right, to earn their sacrifice? That, you know what I mean? Yeah. Am I making them proud? If they could see me right now, my family, like, am I doing my daughters, right, my wife, what am I doing right now to make them, is it to make them proud? You know what I mean? Am I earning the sacrifice of the people that have gone before me?
It's so good, man.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
It's that legacy, It's
Absolutely.
like, I tell you what, if you're curious about what's the most important, and here's the thing, people really care more about what it is that you do rather than anything that you say or anything. That's right. That's what they care about. At the end of it all, they're not going to say, well, I knew, Tim felt this way. Most of the conversation is going to be about, if I'm no longer here anymore, it's what I did. Because what people feel and what they do, a lot of times, it doesn't mean they're synonymous.
Right. Feelings are fleeting, man.
They sure are.
Feelings, listen, the beauty of bluntness is that it challenges the strong and threatens the weak.
Yeah, love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And so with that, it's our responsibility as individuals to put our feelings aside and look at the facts, right? Yeah. Thomas Sowell talks about, he was a Marxist, right? And someone asked him, well, what changed in you that you stepped away or changed your direction? He goes, facts.
Yeah, that's right.
Facts, right? Facts don't like facts, man. Math, and the guy's an economist, right? Brilliant man. And I'm just devouring his information. Like, the guy is so brilliant, and he's not a young fellow, so
right.
Man, to just absorb that knowledge, right? And then take it and remember it, right?
That's right.
Not forget the
That's
mistakes we made yesterday.
That's right.
Because we'll continue to make those mistakes if we don't step up, all right, and start acting.
That's right.
In our communities, right?
That's right.
First in our minds, in our actions, and then in our communities.
That's right.
I am out of paper, and I think we are out of time. I mean, Scott, we can go on and on and on.
Without a doubt.
And there's so many things that you said in this episode that I really think anybody watching needs to hear again and really apply to their lives. So I really thank you not only for having us here at this amazing facility, but imparting your wisdom, some of the training that you've had, even those fundamental rules of firearms is something that people need to hear. Yes. And then they can actually that's just like the drop that maybe starts the trickle, that starts the flow of water that puts them on that journey to really look for that responsible and find those teachers, mentors, those coaches that are going to pour into them those fundamentals that you just shared. So I thank you for everything, and especially for your service, brother.
Oh, man, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad you guys
Appreciate
came out.
Yeah.
Please come back. I mean, you guys welcome to come back again. Let's go out and have a little fun on the ranges, too.
That would be good.
Learn some things.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I got to say, I was humbled when I came out here and did the pistol class. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Exactly.
Well, most people own a handgun. They think, well, that's all I need. It's like, just because you have it, don't know how to
That's
use
right.
it.
Absolutely.
or when to use it.
That's
you
right.
Know what I mean?
That's right. And that's important, man. Like, people put more money into the gear and into the gun and all that. When you save that money and get you a good solid firearm, a pistol or a carbine, and then take the rest and put it into training.
That's right.
Right? Because that is going to make you or break you, man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And that's critical, man.
It's like a
Gotta have the
person.
knowledge.
It's like a person with Martha Stewart pots and pans, or
right.
Rachel Ray pots and
Yeah,
pans,
yeah.
or Le Croissant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't cook, can't make eggs.
Yeah, never made eggs.
But they got all the pots and
That's
pans.
right. They got all the flavors,
They
right?
got all the pots and pans.
And I burned the pasta.
That's right.
Guys, thank you so much. And if you are at home watching this, I urge you to take a look at your environment and understand what you're in, and understand where you want to stand in that environment. If you do decide that you want to defend yourself, if you want to take up that sword, as Scott mentioned, there's responsibility behind that, there's a journey behind that, and it's not a short one, and it's a lifelong journey that you have to make sure you make that decision to go on. Following some of my notes, pain is the mother of invention. Is that a quote? I wrote it down as fast as I can. Pain is the mother of invention. Understand, you're not fragile, and through your pain, you can discover so much. And failure does not define you, it refines you. That was actually the first time I heard that. I love that as well, because a lot of us, we take failure hard, right? And it might stop us from going deeper into what we want to do. But when you have the proper, and I gotta keep using this, teachers, mentors, coaches, who can guide you through that failure, you'd be amazed at what happens on the other side. And then seek out the knowledge. If you don't know what you don't know, that's okay. But as you start acquiring knowledge, you start realizing how little you know. I forgot who said it, but it's like the smartest people are usually the ones who are awareness. They have awareness of their ignorance. Yeah. So get awareness of your ignorance and then seek to eradicate that as best as you can. Fail-safe environment to safely fail. I just love that. I wanted to make sure I said that again. And then violence is not a bad thing. I have to say that. Or savage. Listen, your ability to be violent is not bad. Your ability to be violent might very well be what saves someone's life one day. And of course, it starts with the thought and really in the mind, as you mentioned, deciding if that's the mantle you want to take up. I hope you guys got value from this. I can't thank you all enough for watching. I can't thank these men enough for not only pouring into me in business, in my relationships, but also in my physical fitness and my ability to protect myself, my home, my household, and my community. And I hope you guys learn how to do the same. Go out there and be a modern man.